Hi, I'm Aliya, and I've been feeling so good about just putting up a camera and just speaking or simply creating new different formats for storytelling, for documenting processes of becoming, processes of my own life with my own heritage and culture journeys that I'm finding myself on. And today I just kind of want to talk about that and what I mean by the process of becoming and a whole experiment and experience that I've decided to dive in that I am calling the finally doing it. Just finally doing dreams that I've been having of just creating videos, basically. For me, this past year has been a really big year in terms of culture and heritage and diaspora. And what I've always been passionate about is documenting, but particularly documenting these diasporic experiences, these experiences of a diaspora, of a heritage, of a culture, of multiple generations, and what happens to that very young generation in terms of their roots, in terms of identity, in terms of inheriting and the ache, the urge, and the struggle to live up to that identity of their foreign home country. Essentially, this whole post-migrant diaspora, this experience of having immigration background and growing up in a foreign country because your parents or your grandparents or your ancestors may have moved to the abroad, is such a big part of our identities. And sometimes me as an individual and just my own background, I find like I'm almost one generation too much ahead, simply because one of my parents does not only have migration background, but mixed migration background. If one of your parents is already mixed, your experience is bound to be a whole lot different. Ethnically or just mixed wise, I feel like I'm one generation ahead. I say that because of that bare fact, and because I cannot think of one person right now in my circles that I feel like where I know, whoa, wait, we're the same. Do you get me? Where you have migration background that already goes back to your grandparents, and your parents are basically the same as you, just not as ethnically ambiguous as you maybe are. My whole life I've grown up with these stories and this very strong bond with my family and their own history. And that's why I find it so amazing and engaging and important to document that. And there's so much that you can work with if you only have it in your mind, and if you have some sort of creative skill and vision in your head as well. And if you have that drive, that passion in your heart to do that, to do something with that skill, to do something with that vision. And what your interest field of your mind is, that can come with time as well. I don't know if I will be able to produce something in that field for the rest of my life, but I know that I want to do something with documenting, creating videos, creating film in fields of interest that have to do with culture and identity, the struggle, and simply the journey of life, and the realness of real issues that are happening in the world, not just fictional. That's what I know I want to do. I've always loved producing things by myself, though, and I've also always loved being in front of the camera. And that's something that I cannot get an education on, and that's why the finally doing it has become relevant. Because if you do not decide to do it yourself, no one else is ever going to do it for you. In German there's a saying, du musst über deinen Schatten springen. You have to jump over your shadow. And after a long time of not really knowing how I should do it, and also just really having this big fear or just not fear, but yeah, essentially it was a fear and a care for what people thought of me, and especially the people that I know, what they would think of me. But that's not something that you should dwell on, because I would love to say this over and over every single day, but nobody actually gives a... They really don't. Do you have the time in your day to think about what other people are doing? Like, genuinely, who has time for that, and who spends that much energy on it? If they do, then they're just a hater, or they're just jealous and unhappy with their own lives. But that doesn't need to be us. We don't need to do that. We should rather be the one that they're hating on, because at least we're doing something that we're passionate about and that we've always wanted to do. At least we're doing what we always wanted to do, and at least we're chasing that dream. And I find myself just sitting, and I find myself on the daily sitting across from this bed at a desk, just working and working and working. Learning that it takes a schedule, it takes planning, it takes a lot of time and energy to do this. And it makes me respect people that are doing content creation full time, because that's so hard. For now, it's just an experiment that I'm doing. Let's see what happens. Let's see where this takes us. Who knows? Maybe this will be something my kids will watch one day. Isn't that crazy? But essentially, what I know now is that it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like me. Doing this makes me feel more like me than not doing it. This is the most me I've felt in my everyday life. I don't know in how long. Probably if I have those moments where I can just be my weird, goofy self. That's how much this makes me feel like me. When I have visions and so many ideas of, on the daily even, of a photo shoot or a certain angle of what picture of trees I would like to take in this park, or an angle with the sun setting behind me through a window while I'm sitting there with my head in my neck against the chair that I'm sitting on. Just a lot of ideas. But anyway, I'm not trying to woo you with this beautiful setup. In all honesty, this is how I spend my evenings at home and my nights reading books. But yeah, I just wanted to have a little chit chat. I don't know if I will use this, but if I do use this, I hope you know that you just need to do it. There's no other way around it. Just face whatever you're afraid of. That's all I can say. I hope you do.